Joined by Coach Frye as we wrap up the Black and Gold Challenge down in Orlando and get set for the second outdoor meet of the 2019 season, the Buccaneer Invitational in Charleston. Coach, before we talk about that one, let's rewind to Orlando, the success that you had there. Almost too many good performances to name, and I hate to reel them off because I know I'll forget some of them, but Armand was fantastic in the pole vault. Let's start with that one. Him and Jan as well really anchored the field crew. Jan in the triple jump, not even his primary event, a big finish for him, and I think the 7th best mark in Carolina history. Armand winning the pole vault. I know it wasn't a PR for him, but it was maybe his best season opener as a Gamecock. Those two performances from those guys to get those in mid-March is a good sign for where they can be when we get to postseason.
Yeah, we were the big thing about those. I mean, Jan, he was wanted to take the week a little bit off. He wanted to do something different that would lead him into a more explosive long jump. So we didn't anticipate him going as far as 15 meters in a triple jump. It was just a kind of a training tool that Coach D was using. And the same with Ahmad. In the pole vault, it was a 12-step approach. It was a low grip. So Coach Brown was still working on him. He didn't even really get into a big swing. So we're excited about him getting on big bowl poles, holding low, and taking short approaches and jumping 16.8. I mean, he had a good jump, jumping at a PR with a short approach. So they're encouraging that he's able to get on a pole outdoors and come in and do that. So that was exciting to have him win while they are working on things into the long season.
Can it help an athlete when they're working on technique primarily and maybe not even planning to peak? Can it help them to go to meet day and still have success and still put up marks and times that maybe they weren't expecting?
Of course, because statistically, mathematically, it shows that persons in practice can't practice at about 92%, but in a contest, you can send yourself to 100% effort. So you have to curtail that to keep them from being injured. So when you put them in a contest, you give them a shorter run, a short approach, or a different race to work on something, and then you can change their practice, and it'll be you can move the percentage of the workout up because they're working at a higher percentage at a contest. That's a day's worth of practice when you put people through those kind of contests, so that you can taper them later into a maximum performance.
On the track, I know you were most impressed with what Noah Walker did in the 400 hurdles. He ran a PR, which in a season opener is something special. He's a guy that I know you say does all the right things, does it the right way, has success in the classroom. And with the kind of performance that he ran Saturday, he's going to be right there in the regional mix and perhaps in the conference mix as well.
Well, that's a role model. I mean, I think he was a little nervous coming to a major D1, a Power 5 school, and I think his idea was, I need to do everything right. I'm certain that that's the way he approached things when he was not here, because that's who he is. He attends classes. He you just can't name it. He's a good role model kid. He just hadn't put up the marks, and so I'm just proud to see that we got all kinds of kids on our teams from varied backgrounds that are role models. They're leaders without speaking, and so I would say he's a leader without speaking. And he's a role model for even our great athletes. They know that he comes to work he's a lunch pail guy. He brings his lunch pail every day, and he's got his shoes every day, and he does his warm-up every day. And, hey, he's on time every day. So it's good to have that. And we have lots of kids that are like that. So that's what makes it. That's like I heard Quincy talk about running for the group. That's what makes it good for our other role models that say, our elite level athletes want to do something for their teammate because their teammates are good role models for our elite athletes. They create a atmosphere of camaraderie and love so you can appreciate them.
On the women's side, you and I have talked a lot this year about how the distance group continues to make big strides, and Coach Alden has really worked wonders with them this year, and that continued. They built off the momentum from a scoring effort in the DMR took a couple weeks off, won the 4x8 down in Orlando, and then Anna Catherine Stoddard ran a top 10 time in the 1500, which I know is not even her primary event. That distance group really broke through in Fayetteville at the SEC indoor meet. Of course, there is no DMR outdoors, but I know you think that group is ready to break through and put up some points individually when we get back to the conference level.
I think it is. That's still an example of Noah. It's the same example to our distance kids, to our sprint kids. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. But whenever you work hard, you get good results. I was speaking today to Coach Tanner, and he's asking me, how's the speed of core among the kids? And I thought that was great. It wasn't, did y'all win the 4x4? It wasn't how high you finished. He wanted to know, how happy are our kids? And I like it when coaches or ADs or somebody understands that the benefit to a program is not about the X and O's. It's about the atmosphere, the experience. What's the quality of the experience for the kids? An example of our kids winning that are in the DMR or winning in the 4x8 and putting forth efforts in their non-event, those are indicators of the experience that kids have. They putting forth the effort. We go on spring break and they remembering each other's names, and we're getting in contests, and they're enjoying those experiences. They go to New York and they enjoy the experience going to an event together. So our kids formulate an atmosphere of team camaraderie. And so I was glad to make that report. And you bringing up our 4x8 is a good example of how I felt so good about our team.
Real quick before we move on to next week, any other performances from Orlando? I know we talked about Noah and AK and the 4x8 and Jan and some others. Anybody
with Daryl.
And Daryl, sure.
I mean, Daryl had his business. Daryl's been injured a lot since he's been here. And Saturday was a Gamecock breakout. I mean, he beat an All-American in 100 meters. He ran a personal best coming back and barely missed winning a double. He ran a tremendous leg on a 4x1. So him going back to Charleston this week is kind of a big deal for us. He's going to have a lot of support and people to remember whenever he was the superstar from local. He gets a chance to be completely well. So when he goes into the meet, he doesn't have these apprehensions. And this week was a good chance for him to get going so he can have his confidence and take his guys down. And he's the leader of our sprint pack, and to have his come and get his swag on in his hometown. And we're going to go downtown and visit some places he wants to show us where to eat downtown Charleston. We're going Friday night where he can take his guys around and we can have a little fun. And Charleston's a beautiful city. Our kids don't get a chance to go to Charleston, and so that gives us have some kids on our team that are from Charleston. Miss Staley is from Charleston. And so we got kids, Sweatman's from Charleston. So those kids want to go back and have our team get the experience, because the world classifies Charleston as number one friendliest towns in America. It has developed itself a long ways, and those kids are proud to brag about being in Charleston, so they get to take their teammates down to Charleston. So Daryl was a great example of him coming out and spending the time, getting well, and getting back to where he can make his contribution.
And then real quick before we get out, the meet on Saturday, first opportunity to run outdoors in the Palmetto State. What do you hope to accomplish when we're sitting back here next week and talking about what the Buccaneer Invitational held for your team?
A big thing for our team is bringing our women back from the 4x national champions are going to be there running 200s. We're trying to get them back to spark them up a little bit. They got a week of heavy training last week. They were out of the contest. We got to sharpen them up a little bit for a big meet down in Florida, because expectations go high. We can't let them go in too dull. And with the expectations, people are going to be out. 4x4 is a big deal, and we got a lot of media exposure. Our phones are ringing off the hook about kids that want to join the Gamecocks. And with having Quincy run the fastest 4x4 split, come back off of that in an hour, and having Aaliyah come back and win a national championship after an hour rest. From the people in the track world know that from high school all the way to junior college. And so we can't let them be dull at Florida Relays. So this meet is kind of a tune-up for the meet at Florida Relays. Eric is going to go open up in the shot put. Those are the kind of things we're doing. We're giving kids a chance to not be dull in Florida. Quincy's going to run his first outdoor quarter. We're going to work really hard. We're doing a 2 weeks overload on our athletes, and we'll start tapering the first of next week so that they can have good performances in Florida.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.